me tell you about a friend. It's Craig LeBlanc where the good times never end. Talking Parks and Rec, it's a show you gotta know. Welcome one and all to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. It's the Daily Parks and Rec Show.
It's important for folks to have interns, right?
Yes.
Giving them the opportunity to learn in the field. That experiential learning is the number one pivotal thing for folks that are going into the field, because you can study things in textbooks, but unless you're in person, problem solving, how to deal with an incident that comes up at events, or, navigating a basketball draft. I mean, there's nothing better than being in person.
Welcome back to the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the 2025 NRPA Conference. We're sitting down with one of the most passionate leaders shaping the future of parks and recreation, Molly Keays from South Windsor, Connecticut. Molly is the past chair of the Young Professionals Network, and she's on a mission to bridge the gap between college and career, helping the next generation of park and rec pros find their place in the field. In this episode, Molly shares how hosting interns transformed her department, why experiential learning is essential for our industry's future, and how YPN is building a national movement to empower young professionals. From hands-on mentorship to using local data to prove parks' value, this conversation is packed with insight, heart, and hope for the future of recreation. This is more than a network, it's a movement. Let's dive in. All right, this is Craig LeBlanc with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, live from the NRPA Convention 2025 in Orlando, Florida. I have a friend of mine all the way from Connecticut, Molly Keays, also the former champion of YPN, the president, and now what is your position now in YPN?
I'm a past chair.
Past chair.
Yeah, so I'm old now.
So past chair. So how did this year go for you with YPN? Or maybe for those that aren't familiar with YPN, shout out to Gabby and Molly. They both kind of introduced me to the world of YPN, and now we've created a show for it. We've got a lot more people involved from YPN. But can you explain what YPN is?
Yeah, so YPN is the Young Professional Network. So it's for folks that are newer to the career or 35 and younger. We always say we don't card, so all are welcome if you are, again, newer to the field. And it's just, we try to network and we get to offer a bunch of educational topics for things that are relevant to those that are newer in the field or still developing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a really great network. We have, 80 to 100 folks sometimes per call. And it's folks from all over the country that are still trying to learn and develop their skills so they can further, go on in their career. So we have people from program coordinator all the way to director in our network.
And do y'all have anything for college kids in YPN? Like if you're studying to get a degree, but you're not quite in the field?
Yeah, so we do have some college folks that are in Young Professional Network, as long as they're like members of NRPA, or if they are studying to be college or Parks and Recreation professionals, they can join us. And I think it's really important for us to note that the college to career pipeline, there's been a shortage of that, right, in the industry lately. So we're really trying to foster an opportunity for college folks to come join us in the YPN.
And so what have you done lately to help that out? She actually had I'm messing with her a little bit. She had her intern. This was your first time with an intern, right?
It was. I had an intern last spring,
Yeah.
so that was super neat. She was Springfield College intern, which is where I went to school. And then we actually have an intern right now from Southern Connecticut University. And I think it's important for folks to have interns, right?
Yes.
Giving them the opportunity to learn in the field. That experiential learning is the number one pivotal thing for folks that are going into the field, because you can study things in textbooks, but unless you're in person, problem solving, how to deal with an incident that comes up at events, or, navigating a basketball draft.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing better than being in person.
Yeah. And what I like about what Molly did is oftentimes when you're a director and you're like, well, I just don't have enough time to babysit. We've got so much to do. But you saw that the need is so great and you wanted to lead by example.
Yeah.
And so you just went and did it. And so what was your experience like when you had, so maybe describe what happened. You had an intern, and what was her name? We had her on the show.
Alice. Yeah.
Alice.
Yep. Alice. And so we have recreation supervisors who, directly operate all of our programs. And the purpose was for her to kind of work with all of them and learn the field. And that was our intent. And then one of our recreation supervisors, moved on to a new position. So Alice actually got to step in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Alice got to step in, not take the position, but like she got to learn a little bit more than we anticipated, right? Because we're like, okay, well, we actually need more help with these events, and
I love it.
we need to prep more of these things. So she got to do firsthand a lot of the background work for it.
That's classic Parks and Rec. Here's the keys. Don't wreck the car. See you later. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
That seems to be how it goes.
Yeah.
And so is this something you're going to continue to do, or do you have this once a year, every semester, or how does it look
So
like?
I'm actually hopeful to do this every semester. I think it's, again, really
Fantastic.
important. We have a lot of folks all over the place. They're getting rid of the park and recreation degree, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
So if we have the opportunity and we have the means to host interns, we're going to continue to do that because we want to make sure that young folks are coming into this field and that they have that experience. That way that they're set up for success to go into, whether it's Connecticut, Massachusetts, New England, anywhere, right?
Right.
So, if you're listening to this and you're a college student in New England and you want an opportunity with us, like, please contact us. We want to work with you. Yeah.
And so what's so valuable about what Molly did is that as I have interviewed, I think we're pushing 700 interviews just this last year, it's actually extremely rare to find a department that runs internship programs, exactly what Molly was talking about. So it's really critical if we're going to have these universities have classes for the industry to have internship programs that they can send their students while they're at college. So that's off to you for that one.
Yeah.
Any lessons that you'd like to kind of share about, if somebody wants to get in touch with a university, or how do you find interns?
Yeah, I mean, so the interns have found me, which has been really neat. But I do think it's important to, if you have any universities or colleges in your area, to just reach out to them, say you are Parks and Recreation director or supervisor in that area, and that you want to work with them to make sure that their students have opportunities. Because even if like they don't necessarily have kids to send off to internships, maybe they have kids that want to volunteer at activities or events. And then you are having more volunteers that are, again, driven to work in the industry, and you're starting that relationship. So it's just reaching out and being intentional with those college chairs, which can be tricky sometimes. I mean, you got to go through a bunch of red tape because you got to find department heads and whoever, but it's just starting and reaching out to those folks.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I want to show you this video that we made. This is a gift from us to y'all. As we know, COVID put a lot of Parks and Rec departments on the chopping block for funding because they weren't considered essential service. And so after interviewing this industry for so long, we basically pulled out from all the content that y'all fed into us, something that we feel like you can use to reframe the conversation. And so it's on our YouTube channel. It's free for anybody to use. We don't copyright anything we produce for the Parks and Rec industry, but perhaps you should play this for your elected officials or your next council meeting, and then start the conversation from here and let me know what you think. Bye. When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present. Parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety, a playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, it's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra, it's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community. How we do?
No, that was fantastic. And I think it's important for all of us to start to shape our like narratives within our communities to make sure that elected officials understand that we are essential, right? So it's using that data to tell that story, to show like we are an essential service and we deserve that funding and that support that other folks get in fire and police, because we are serving that community and we're making sure that there's chronic health prevention. We're making sure there's youth development opportunities. We're making sure there's parks for folks to get outside and be healthy and happy. So I love that video. It's fantastic.
So when you say, because I've shown that video to a few people and they say you want to start the conversation there and then back it up with data.
Yeah.
What are some of the data that you feel like is compelling to back up that?
Yeah.
framework?
So I actually just had I spoke on a whole session on the SEC conference. So it's just talking about your program data, right? So taking what you have from your before and after school program, your camps, your health programs, and using that survey data, using the program data from signups to say like, hey, you know, we've served X amount of folks, and this is the benefits that we've seen from these amount of folks that have utilized our programs and our services. So it's just being intentional and making sure it's local data, right? Because it's cool when you have national data and you can say like, hey, NRPA like has these pillars, and you know, here's some data that we found from like park studies. But the more local, the better, right? Because then those decision makers feel more compelled to support you when they can be like, oh, this is happening in my community.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know there's a lot of softwares now that can help pull financial data on economic drivers from the special events and some of the like sports league stuff that you put on.
Yeah. And it's funny because so for us, like in South Windsor, like we don't have the budget necessarily, right, to do all these AI data pulling software systems. So we're just really being intentional about, again, our surveys, talking to folks, using our program data from our like recreation software, and also just, you know, making sure that we're being careful in collecting all that data instead of relying on that software piece.
Yeah. Well, I think I found a company that just started recently in this industry, and they supposedly can do everything for $200 a month.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, I think, the 20th of the cost that I think some of the other market does. So I'm gonna see if I could. I might actually come on as a sponsor for the show.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And 100% of their business is Parks and Recreation. So
I love that.
Kind of why I fell in love with them.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next for YPN? Where do you see, as far as you handing off the torch, where would you like to see it go?
Yeah, I think so. Again, I know we touched on this earlier. It's always important for us to think about who's coming up the pipeline and being intentional about recruiting folks who want to be in the profession. So YPN this year, we're going to continue to focus on some high topic education that, you know, is serving that community. And we're going to actually hone in on the college recruitment this year. So we have some folks that are going to be intentionally reaching out to universities in their areas, and they're going to be inviting them to our monthly meetings. So having that recruitment all over the US is going to be very important. Even if we get, you know, an extra like 20 folks on the calls, right?
Right.
That's 20 extra people that are going to be engaged in the field.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be really important for us to hone in on that college to career pipeline this upcoming year. And Eric Henschel is the new chair of YPN.
Fantastic.
And he is a fantastic park and recreation professional. He's from a smaller town in Colorado. He's going to be bringing his own unique spin. And then we got Rachel Smith, who's been on this, I believe, before. And she is going to also do a fantastic job as chair-elect. And they're going to be intentional about picking those educational sessions and, again, recruiting some more folks.
Well, we had Megan Poole on here earlier. I think
Yep.
it was on day one of the convention, and
awesome.
she kind of soft agreed to host the Friday show for YPN. So we're going to start really using that to try to, promote everything that y'all are doing.
Yep.
And then I noticed there's a lot of good state events coming up on their second and third year. So have you seen some of the local chapters or the state organizations start their own little YPN chapter?
So yeah, so I think there's some very strong YPN groups on the local level, depending on where you're at. I will say, so a lot of folks who were involved nationally have pushed for those local chapters to be opened up, right? Because again, it's important to be connected nationally to get different perspectives and get to meet folks. But that local level, those are the folks that you see, quite often, and it's really important for you to advocate for what's going on in your state and to grow as a professional within your state. So, for example, like Katie Mack and AJ and Emmy Richards, they all just started their Virginia one, 2-3 years ago. Connecticut, we just started ours 2-3 years ago. And we've been just pushing, pushing that narrative of saying, like, young professionals, we are the future of this industry.
Absolutely.
Invest in us, give us a space to network and grow.
Fantastic. All right, so we'll close on the camaraderie and the family atmosphere that you closed on last night, or maybe earlier this morning. Let's speak a little bit about the friendships that y'all formed.
Yeah, so I've been very fortunate. About 5 years, was it 4 or 5 years ago, we were in Nashville. I was new to the industry. I didn't know anyone, and I went to a YPN retreat, and I met folks that I talk to every single day now. So I got Max and Cassie and Tabitha and Kimberly, and we've been able to form this bond that, we're true good friends, and we can text each other to ask questions, bounce ideas off of, celebrate the wins, talk through the hard times, because it's always great to be at conference and network with folks and have these, conversations, but it's really good to have your own core group that you can then, come back to and have those deep conversations and actually have intentional, follow-ups pretty much every day, right? So our group chat goes off almost every day with different ideas, different thoughts. And I think it's really important for folks to have that in the industry, because then you always know there's someone there to listen, to be there, to be supportive. And I think that makes the career and makes your job a little bit less lonely sometimes.
Fantastic.
That's
a great message. And it really is great, and we want to do our part too. So if you haven't tuned in already, we do a Friday show 12 noon Eastern every Friday on YPN. We kind of soft launched it last I guess before the convention. I'm thinking now this is called last year, because the convention's kind of like the breaking point. So in this coming year, thanks to Molly and Gabby and the crew setting us on the right path, we're going to really be pushing hard to help grow this YPN network across America and in the States and stuff. So let us know if we can do anything to help you all in the process.
That's perfect.
But thank you for coming on today, Molly.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great rest of your convention.
At DPR's Media Co., we believe Parks and Recreation isn't just a service, it's the heartbeat of our communities. We exist to honor the people, the vendors, and the leaders shaping the future of Parks and Rec. Our mission is simple: to tell their stories, highlight their careers, and celebrate their essential work. Our vision is bold: to be the trusted hub where leaders, vendors, and communities unite, inspiring innovation, sharing wisdom, and building a stronger, healthier nation. Through over 220 live shows and 6 weekly series, the Leadership Series, Facility Maintenance, Young Professionals Network, Youth Sports Mastery, The Rec Room, and Growing Leaders, plus our industry-leading newsletter, the weekly Parks and Rec Post, we're building a media platform made for the Parks and Rec community. And now, we're inviting strategic partners to co-create this story with us. As a partner, you'll gain 12 hours of annual live exposure with custom shows highlighting your expertise, polished 60-second promos refined for maximum impact, year-round visibility with dozens of replays across our media network, premium features in our newsletter, and amplified social media reach across LinkedIn, X, and Facebook. This is your chance to educate, inspire, and lead, while connecting directly with the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities.
This is DPRS Media Co. Let's build the future of Parks and Rec together.